My name is Amelia and I am a 31-year-old from a small town in rural Kansas. My story is about the day I discovered a devastating betrayal and how I found peace in walking away. I always knew my parents had a favorite, but I never imagined it would go this far. I am the mother of two amazing kids, Jack age 10 and Lily age 7. They are kind, respectful, and resilient, especially after what we've been through since their dad died in a car crash 3 years ago. Since then, it's just been us three. My younger sister Victoria has one son, Leo, who's 8, and if you ask my parents, you'd think he's royalty. He's the golden boy, the apple of their eye, and the center of their universe. Meanwhile, my kids are treated like background noise. Still, I tried to keep the peace. I wanted my kids to have some kind of relationship with their grandparents, even if it meant biting my tongue during their blatant favoritism, but everything changed one weekend. A weekend that exposed their true colors so brutally I couldn't unsee it. It was my mother's birthday, and she had invited the whole family to their large countryside home for the weekend. I thought it would be a good chance for my kids to bond with everyone again since they'd been a bit withdrawn lately. Jack even saved up to buy a bouquet for Grandma, and Lily made a card with glitter and tiny paper hearts. When we arrived, they handed her the gifts with wide smiles. Mom glanced at them for 2 seconds and said, "Oh, thanks, just leave those on the table," before turning her full attention to Leo, who had just walked in with Victoria carrying a store-bought cake. "Oh, my angel," Mom squealed, hugging Leo like she hadn't seen him in years. I noticed how Jack's face dropped. Lily blinked a few times and whispered, "She didn't even say thank you." The entire evening was a love fest for Leo. Every little thing he said was brilliant, every noise he made was adorable, every misstep just a phase. When he spilled soda all over the couch, my dad chuckled. That's what boys do. When Jack accidentally knocked over a coaster, Dad snapped, "Can't you be more careful?" At dinner, Leo laughed at Jack for not knowing how to play chess. "You don't even know that, even babies know that," he said smugly. Jack's eyes welled up and I stood up trying to keep my voice calm. "Mom, Dad, can you please ask him to be nicer?" Mom sipped her wine. "Kids' teas don't make a scene, Amelia." That night I cried quietly in bed after tucking my children in. I should have left then. I should have packed up and driven away. But I thought maybe it was just one bad day. I was wrong. The next morning I left briefly to grab Jack's allergy medicine from the local pharmacy. When I returned just 30 minutes later, I found my kids sitting outside on the porch with their small suitcases. I slammed the car door and rushed up. "What are you doing out here?" Lily had tears in her eyes. "Grandpa told us we had to go." "What, why?" "He said we were being disruptive, that Leo needed quiet. We were just playing." I stormed inside, my blood boiling. "Dad, what the hell is going on?" He didn't even look up from his newspaper. "Your kids were being too loud. Leo has testing next week. He needs peace. They're just children. And Leo is a gifted child." My mom added, "He needs a stable environment to thrive." "So you threw my children out of the house?" I shouted. "You're overreacting," Mom said, rolling her eyes. "They're fine." I stared at them, two people who had raised me and held my babies as infants. And I realized something: they didn't love my children. They never had. That drive home was silent. The kids were quiet, confused, and heartbroken. I could see the self-doubt forming in their little faces. That was when something shifted inside me. I was done playing the peacekeeper. What they didn't know was that 6 months ago, after a long legal battle, I had inherited my late husband's shares in his tech startup. The valuation was in the millions. I had gone from barely surviving to owning a major stake in a booming company. I hadn't told anyone because I wanted peace, but I saw clearly who deserved to be in our lives. I bought a beautiful home in a gated community. I enrolled Jack and Lily in a private school with a strong emotional support program. I hired a child therapist to help them work through what had happened. And I made absolutely certain they would never feel unwanted again. But I wasn't done. 2 months later, I planned a back-to-school celebration brunch and invited all our extended family. I made sure the invite sounded modest but welcoming. My parents and Victoria showed up when they saw the house. Mom's jaw dropped. "Whose house is this?" "Mine," I said casually. "You bought this?" "Yes, with a portion of the money from the business. I didn't tell anyone because I knew how you might react." The brunch was beautiful. The kids were dressed up happy and confident. They laughed, danced, and showed off their new violin skills. Lily proudly introduced people to her personal art gallery, and Jack gave a short speech thanking everyone for their support. That was when I stood up. I want to say something, I said, smiling. Many of you have watched my children grow up. You've seen them grieve, heal, and thrive, but not everyone has treated them fairly. I paused, letting my gaze fall on my parents. I was told my kids were disruptive. I was told they weren't as special, that they should leave someone else's home because they were simply being children. That moment broke something in me, but it also lit a fire. Everyone was silent. I used to think being quiet protected my kids. Now I know speaking up protects them, so I'm speaking now. I looked at Jack and Lily. You are my joy, my strength, my pride, and no one, no matter their title, will ever make you feel small again. There were tears in a few people's eyes. I turned back to the crowd. As of last month, I've created a family trust. Everything I own, this home, my company, shares my wealth, is going directly to Jack and Lily. It will be managed until they're of age and protected by attorneys from any outside interference. My parents were pale. My mother opened her mouth but said nothing. I'm done fighting for crumbs of respect. My children and I have our own table now, and it's full. They left early that day with no hugs and no apology. I haven't heard from them since, and honestly, I don't miss them because my kids finally have what they always deserved: love, respect, and a home where they come first.